Live at the Singapore Indoor Stadium, tonight the JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers host the Westports Malaysia Dragons in Supersports Arena's coverage of the 2013 ASEAN Basketball League. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lion City. I'm Sean Fark. We're very pleased to have with us today the CEO of the ASEAN Basketball League, Anthony Macri. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you very much.
We face two teams tonight, the Singapore Slingers and the Westports Malaysia Dragons, who come into this game on somewhat of a slide. The Dragons have lost 3 in a row. The Slingers have dropped 2 straight. Let's talk about Singapore first, averaging just 58 points per game over their first 3. They look particularly anemic on the offensive end against the Warriors last week. How do they turn the offense around tonight?
Well, we all know that the Slingers get a ton of production from their imports, but in reality, the key to them winning games in the ABL is the production from their locals. It's their locals' ability to hit outside shots that opens things up for the inside players, especially Jeffers. And if they're not hitting shots from the outside, this team will struggle to score points in this ABL season.
Speaking of struggling, last week the Malaysia Dragons were toasted by Chris Charles, the Thailand Slammers. He dominated them in the paint. Now they face another big center in Kyle Jeffers. How do they contain Jeffers?
Well, I think, one of the biggest problems that they have as a team in Malaysia is they really have trouble stopping not only big players, but also really good guards. And we've seen they've dropped 3 games. Both the 2 games to Indonesia, they've got a big player in Steve Thomas that really gave them problems. Kanyada and Smith also gave them problems in those games. And then this past game against the Slammers, both Bagian and Charles gave them a lot of trouble. So if they're not able to stop those guys, they can't get their offense going, it's a big problem for the Malaysia Dragons.
All right, great insight. That's why he is the CEO. This is the first of 2 games this week in the ABL. Slingers against the Dragons tonight here at the Indoor Stadium. Then Friday, February 8th, that a regional game on Fox Sports. San Miguel Beermen host the Indonesia Warriors. Those 2 teams met in the ABL final a season ago, and that should be a good one. For more on tonight's game between Singapore and Malaysia, let's go over to our Michelle Holland.
Thank you, Sean. Yes, both teams coming in tonight with multiple losses behind them. The Westports Malaysia Dragons on a 3-game losing streak. The Singapore Slingers having lost 2 consecutive games. Both teams are going to be extremely hungry for the win tonight for a couple of reasons. Firstly, albeit still early on in the season, both teams are sitting in the bottom half of the table. If they want to remain in contention for the playoffs, they certainly need to move up and not lose touch with those at the top of the table. Secondly, both teams having suffered those losses will be suffering from low morale. A win tonight will certainly boost their confidence. Sean, as you said, the Singapore Slingers have averaged 58 points across these last 3 games. Incidentally, they failed to capitalize on their home court advantage last week. Can they do it tonight? Can they use it to their advantage? Or will we see a repeat performance of last week where they were defeated by the Indonesia Warriors? Sean.
Michelle, thank you. And you see Kyle Jeffers, Anthony, 27 points in the game against the Warriors. However, Indonesia really let Jeffers score at will. They focused on everyone else to get the W.
I would expect to see that a ton for the rest of the season if I'm Singapore. And again, if they're outside, their local players can't hit outside shots, that's the way every team is going to defend them throughout the year.
And there you see the Westports Malaysia Dragons, who started this season and really looked to be the class of the field. And in the center, their coach, Ariel Vanguardia, Guga, one of the best 3-point shooters. There's Cedric Bozeman. Had really lost his shot the last couple of games, but he is the go-to playmaker for Malaysia.
Well, I think that one of the things Malaysia has struggled with is they've gone to a lot of one-on-one play, and that's been a big problem for them. They're not passing the ball very well, getting all guys integrated. They do well getting out in transition, but once they get into the half court, they've struggled so far these last 3 games.
You talked about the struggles of these Slingers locals. How about the Malaysia Dragons? The local players in the loss of the Slammers combining for just 12 points, that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, it's absolutely been inconsistent for them. And that's something that we see around the league, with the exception maybe of Thailand, where the locals have been really, fantastic. And obviously, we know the San Miguel Beerman locals are going to be great. But Malaysia needs production out of not just their world imports, their ASEAN players, but their locals as well.
And now look at the Singapore Slingers on their home floor at the indoor stadium. That's Damien Go, now Han Bin. And these are the guys that are going to have to get more confidence in their shot, knock it down from outside, and open things up for Jennings and Jeffers.
The key is going to be, can they hit shots early? If they can hit shots early this game, make sure not only confidence is up, but it also forces Malaysia to change their game plan. And if Malaysia starts pressing out on those guys and gives some space on the inside, that makes a whole world of difference for the Singapore Slingers.
You can see 25, that is Junjay Kabatu, getting less than 7 points per game from him. The shooting guard spot has been a problem for the Slingers. Kabatu, a swing man. They need offense from him.
They need offense from everyone, but he's definitely one of the guys. In the ABL, the way that the league is structured, you've got to get production out of your imports no matter what. That's got to be a given. Anything you get from the locals is a bonus. And obviously, in the case of the Slingers, if their imports aren't going to produce, their locals have to.
Neo Beng Xiong at the bottom of your screen, the head coach of the Singapore Slingers, and he was very frank with Michelle Holland after the loss last week. He said, we have to go to work. With the time we have off, we have to go to work on offense. We'll see if that pays off tonight. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First for the Singapore Slingers, Desmond O, Don Dulé in the backcourt, Kyle Jeffers at the center spot, Rashad Jones-Jennings, a rebounding fool at the power forward spot, Mitchell Folkoff, who did not play in the loss to the Warriors, is the small forward. Meanwhile, for the Westport Malaysia Dragons, Guga Naswaran, check him out from downtown, 9 of 11 to begin the season. That is 82%. Bon Sin-Wee joins him in the backcourt. Gavin Edwards, an undersized center. Cedric Bozeman at the forward spot, along with Moala Tautua, a guy that's really yet to get going this season.
Yeah, he's dealt with some injury issues over the course of the last few days. From what I understand, he's starting to finally feel healthy, and that's going to be a big lift for the Malaysia Dragons if they can get him healthy.
Kyle Jeffers giving these Slingers 18 points and 10 rebounds, and it'll be interesting to see how the Dragons defend him. And while we have a moment, you can follow the ASEAN Basketball League all season. First through the website, ASEANBasketballLeague.com. The ABL also available on Facebook. And finally, you can follow the league on Twitter at ABL News. So multimedia platforms for the ASEAN Basketball League. We're going to step away. When we come back, the opening tip. You're watching live coverage of the ABL. Stay with us. Back live at the Singapore Indoor Stadium, where we are moments away from the opening tip between the JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers and the Westport Malaysia Dragons. Michelle Holland, ABL CEO Anthony Macri, and Sean Farquhar For you on this one, the Malaysia Dragons come into this with a record of 2 wins and 3 losses. And for the Singapore Slingers, after the opening season win, have dropped 2 straight. So these two teams nestled between or beside one another in the ABL standings. We were talking before the break, Anthony, about how the Westport Malaysia Dragons, a little bit undersized, they really need to get out and run against the Singapore Slingers team to have success.
They definitely have to push the ball in transition, try to get it from baseline to baseline as fast as they can, get the ball up on the board, and offensive rebound it as quickly as possible.
Gavin Edwards tipping it up with Kyle Jeffers, and off the tap it is controlled by the Slingers and Don Dulay. Dulay to O, and here is Volkov, the small forward, out on the perimeter. Jeffers matched up with Tautua and gets the long jumper. So Jeffers hitting from outside, that's a long 2 to open the scoring. At the other end, Guga. Bozeman matching up with Volkov. Bond putting it on the floor, goes right down the middle, board and cord.
You can see there Malaysia getting the ball from one side of the floor to the other. A drive, get some penetration, and they get a basket right off the window.
With 20 seconds on the shot clock, the Slingers to inbound. Long pass out to Jeffers. Dulay putting it on the floor. Jeffers dumps inside. Dulay, the point guard, over the top of Gavin Edwards. And the smallest man on the floor goes inside for the deuce.
They threw the ball into the post. You saw a double down there from the passer's defender, and he was wide open for a little teardrop.
Big screen by Edwards on Desmond O. Bond flying inside. Bond Sinwi with both of the Malaysia Dragons baskets. Already, both these teams, their offense looks much crisper than we have seen in recent games.
I want to know if it's the offense looking crisper or the defense not really alive yet.
Jeffers, one bounce between two defenders, slapped out by Edwards. Excellent defense by the Dragons. Guga threads the needle, Bozeman in for the stuff.
Major miscommunication there in defensive transition. You can't have that if you're the Slingers. Dragons will take advantage.
Floor opening up for both squads. We've played 2 minutes of the opening quarter. Edwards intercepting the pass. So Edwards with active hands in the middle for the Dragons. The dump to Tautua, tapped by Jeffers, and he corrals it. And not afraid to bring it up the floor. Jeffers, hook shot, draws contact, and Jeffers will get a pair.
That last offensive possession may have ended in a block shot, or to steal rather, for Slingers going the other way. But the thing I liked is the ball didn't touch the ground. There wasn't a ton of dribbling. It was just a pass around. They got into the post, and they looked to make the extra pass. As we see the attempted layup there, no good, and Jeffers will go to the line.
Clangs the front first, and free throw shooting has been a problem for the Singapore Slingers to begin the season. Collectively shooting under 65%. 1 of 2 for the Slingers big man, and it's a 6-5 Dragons lead. Tautua. Bond on the wing. Tautua will drive inside. We get a whistle. No foul called, and in fact steps on Moala Tautua.
The one thing about that offensive possession for the Dragons there, the ball never changed sides of the floor, and that's going to be problematic for teams. You've got to get the ball from one side of the floor to the other.
Jeffers putting up a three-pointer. Bozeman in transition. Excellent fake. Cedric Bozeman has 4 points. Jeffers continues to play out high. Jones-Jennings can't squeeze it, and that'll be Dragons ball.
The Dragons are certainly impressive in transition. And so far, really, you have not seen the Slingers get on track with their high-low game.
Guga curls around a screen. Bozeman and Mitchell Folkoff is overmatched going against Cedric Bozeman. He has 3 buckets for Malaysia.
And that was an NBA play from an NBA player, a guy who's played in the league before and took his time and made the play happen.
Jeffers can't hit Folkoff. I count 4 Slingers turnovers with 6:21 to go in the first.
That one's not a bad turnover, though. They had a backdoor play because of the overplay on the defensive side and just couldn't connect on the pass. But the idea is right. See if they can get it next time.
Entry pass to Bozeman. Folkoff draped all over him. That's better defense. Tautua from outside. Swish!
For a team like the Slingers, they've got to stem the tide here soon because they do not score enough points to get into a big hole.
Desmond O outside. Jeffers way short. Somehow Desmond O coming out with it. Fresh 24 for Singapore. Wow, Desmond O has really lost confidence in his outside shot. Dulé, no good. Jeffers with the rebound. Third crack at it, loose ball, and Bozeman cleaning it up. Now Bond, they've got numbers. Tautua in for the jam!
That's great. They're just fantastic in transition. A very dangerous team when they're getting out on the break, and you saw why.
They open up a 9-point lead. And we are midway through the opening quarter here at the indoor stadium. Folkoff. Mitchell Folkoff. It's the three-pointer. And boy, did Singapore need that.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's a good one to knock down. They got an open look and knocked it. That's exactly the kind of shot that they need to be able to hit.
Bozeman between the legs, stops, pops, it rims out. Jennings clears glass.
They didn't need that possession. There's a little bit too much of the one-on-one play that's giving them some problems.
Jennings looking to bang. Too strong on the lay-in, and Jeffers strongly on the putback effort. And we have a timeout on the floor. 4:20 to go in the opening quarter, and the Westport Malaysia Dragons on the road lead the Singapore Slingers 14-10 as we step away. Welcome back to the Singapore Indoor Stadium. 4:20 to play in the opening quarter. The Westport Malaysia Dragons on the road, leading the jobstreet.com Singapore Slingers. Anthony Macri, the Dragons have come out on fire, hitting 7 of their first 8 shots.
A lot of that was in transition where they were getting some explosions right at the rim. That's made it for easy buckets for them.
John Ung now in the game for the Westport Malaysia Dragons. Junjay Kabatu has checked in for the Slingers. Bozeman down inside. Edwards, hook shot, won't go. Rebound Jennings.
We saw the Slingers missing some shots early on, but they were able to get on the offensive boards 3 times in that first segment, so we'll see if they can do that again here.
Kabatu, once again, Jeffers, they have had Jeffers shooting from outside here in the opening period. Hook shot, wow, that is a tough shot, and Jeffers gets it to go.
I think part of their strategy has been to pull Gavin Edwards away from the rim with Jeffers, and that's worked a little bit because he's not comfortable guarding out there, and they're getting some offensive rebound opportunities.
Slingers on a 7-0 run. Putting it on the floor, and that is an offensive foul. Desmond O draws the charge.
Great defensive possession there. You could tell that was something they wanted to get. The Dragons tend to over-penetrate a fair amount, especially on the baseline, and that's an old saying that we used to have in coaching, baseline is death, and it was death there for them.
.310 to go in the opening quarter. Jeffers, baseline, looking for the reversal. Jones-Jennings, something less than a soft touch around the middle.
Just didn't quite get up high enough for the rebound, but that baseline drive, it's not just that any baseline drive is death. If you can get to the rim in 1 or 2 dribbles and finish with, ferocity, go ahead and do it. But if you've got to take a couple dribbles and it's a hesitation, it's not there on the baseline.
Bozeman wasn't ready for the pass. Jeffers looking for help. The trailer, and that is a travel. Jeffers off the pivot foot took an extra step.
Put the ball in his right hand and would not go back to his left, refused it. And that obviously was something that Cedric Bozeman was ready for, actually overplayed the right hand. You can see it right here. He jumps on the right hand because he knows that's where he wants to go. And without an ability to counter back the other way, it's an easy travel call for the referee.
To borrow a football analogy, he overcooked it.
Absolutely.
Dragons with the ball up 14-12. And some dampness on the floor. Pat Kabahug has come into the game. He is a valuable 6th man for the Westport Malaysia Dragons, and it is Kabahug with the ball. Oh, the defender lost his feet. Jeffers extending for the rebound.
Kabahug may have missed that shot, but he's got his arm ready to go as soon as he comes in the game.
Kabatu got away with a walk, couldn't get the shot to go. Bozeman on the wing, shovels it back. Edwards didn't have his hands up. Desmond O, let's see if he shoots. Yes, he'll put it up from outside. That is an air ball. Jones-Jennings, wow, how did he miss that? Dulé, wing 3, refusing to fall. So the Slingers with 3 good shots, and they come away with nothing.
The real question here for the Dragons is, can they capitalize? Because they have not done so thus far.
Bond, short of the jumper. Bozeman out on Kabatu. Jeffers with the screen. And Bozeman comes over to check Jennings. Outside, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Delay puts it up. That's a live ball. Play continues. Desmond O coming up with it. Everyone kind of stopped for a moment thinking that ball was headed out of bounds. Oh, Kabatu goes baseline and trying to force a pass through. And Ariel Vanguardia takes a timeout with 1:07 to go. And a tight one here at the indoor stadium. Malaysia 14, Singapore 12. We're back to the indoor stadium right after this. Back in Singapore, 14-12, Dragons leading the Singapore Slingers. Rashad Jones-Jennings yet to get untracked offensively. This is Cedric Bozeman. Pat Kabahug now working against Mitchell Volkov. John Ung tries the jumper. Gang rebounding by the Slingers. And they bring the ball up looking for the tie with 42 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Kabatu just involved in a miscue with Jennings the last time down the floor. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Kabatu, one bounce. Jeffers saves it, and the Slingers will get a second chance. Kabatu flies inside, and the Filipino is going to the line.
That's their 8th offensive rebound in this quarter, and we've got, 19 seconds left. They've got 8 offensive rebounds. The Dragons only have 6 rebounds total. So you can see there, the Dragons really struggled with this against Christian Charles, who had 27 boards, I believe, in their last game himself. And so we see that being a continual problem for this Malaysia team. And
you called it, Anthony. 8 offensive rebounds to the Slingers, none for Malaysia. Jinjay Kabatu, the son of Sonny Kabatu, a PBA legend back in the Philippines. Kabatu was a member of the San Miguel Beermen last season. And we are deadlocked at 14. The shot clock is off. Malaysia will hold for the last shot of the quarter. Bozeman. Now 5 seconds. On the wing, a path to the basket, and he will go in uncontested. The Slingers go to sleep on defense, and Cedric Bozeman waltzes inside for the lay-in. So the Malaysia Dragons behind Cedric Bozeman. He now has 8 points, and the Dragons will take a 2-point lead into the second quarter, and we'll have it for you when we return on Super Sports Arena. Coverage of the 2013 ABL continues. Welcome back to the Singapore Indoor Stadium, where the Westport Malaysia Dragons lead the JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers 16-14. The second quarter in front of us, Sean Farquhar, Anthony Macri, and Michelle Holland. In that first quarter, Anthony, how about the Westport Malaysia Dragons shooting 62% and yet only lead by a deuce?
They were getting plays right at the rim, but they went on a little bit of a lull in the latter half of that quarter, which is something of a trend with them. They just do that consistently in other games where they've really struggled to score at certain periods. Meanwhile, if I'm the Slingers and you told me I'd only shoot something like 26% and be down 2, I'd be ecstatic, and that's what they have to be here.
Pat Kabaha will put it up from outside and score. That's a long 2. Kabaha, Guga, Edwards, Bozeman, and Tautua begin the second quarter. For the Slingers, Dulé, Jennings, Volkov, Kabatu, and Jeffers. And it is Mitchell Volkov. Backs it out. Dulé, entry pass Jeffers fade away. They will give him the shot and the foul.
The ball went from one side of the court all the way to the other side. They got good movement on the weak side of the floor that had defenders interchanging. And Jeffers gets a generous continuation call there, but is able to knock it down.
You can see Ariel Vanguardia, the Dragons coach, holding up two fingers saying, hey, the foul was on the floor. He wanted 2 shots. Instead, Jeffers completes the three-point play. 18-17, Malaysia. Kabahag, 360. And the foul on Volkov as he hooked Kabahag.
Volkov has really put himself in a position where he is right up on Kabahag's chest and not allowing him to have any room. And that's what you have to do with a scorer of his caliber. You can't let him get an easy look.
Guga, great fake. Tautua following up his own miss. And that'll be Dragons ball, but better defense, Anthony, from Singapore.
Absolutely. You saw there Guga go with the Euro step, stepping in 2 different directions with each step, and find Tautua just has to get up a little bit higher. Maybe his back still a little bit of a problem. He's had some lower back issues over the last few weeks.
They work to get some dampness off the floor. Full 24 seconds on the shot clock for the Dragons. Tautua skips it. Kabahag loves to shoot from the 15 to 18 foot range.
I think he's ought to shoot from anywhere, Sean.
Here's Volkov from outside. Jennings with the offensive rebound comes up with it. Dulé all by himself. Edwards snags the rebound. Kabahag in and out for the Filipino.
Might have been a little frustration foul there. He's not getting shots to fall as much as he'd like, and maybe a little over-aggressive trying to go after that offensive rebound.
Second team foul on the Dragons. Neither team over the limit in the first quarter. Volkov for the rotating Dulé. Jeffers skips it back to the point guard. Jeffers banging and stripped by Guga. Outlets to Bozeman. So smooth going inside Cedric Bozeman.
Absolutely. I mean, Cedric Bozeman, former UCLA star, has played in the NBA. The one thing that he does maybe better than anyone else in our league right now is change speeds, and you can see that here. The crossover and then just swoops right into the lane. He takes everyone by surprise with how explosive he is, how long he is, and he can get right to the rim in just 2 strides.
Bozeman playing professional ball in Belgium, China, Poland, and also in the PBA in the Philippines. Follows up his own miss, and Gavin Edwards rocks the rim.
Give them a little taste of their own medicine there on the offensive boards.
Ball shot out and turned over. And Bozeman lost the handle on it. This comes with the Dragons up 21-17. With 7:39 to go. From outside, a brick from Kabatu. Dulé. Kabatu sends it back outside. Now Dulé down the middle for the triple.
Ball went inside out. They got an open shot, and Dulé knocked it down. I think that's his second, if I'm not mistaken, 3-pointer of the game.
It is. And the Dragons lead 21-20 with 7:04 to go in the first half. Bozeman inside, Edwards unable to squeeze it. Wow, Gavin Edwards having problems holding on to the rock.
We saw some great weak side defensive help there. Maybe we'll see it here. So Edwards slips to the rim, but you had the weak side defender coming over immediately, knocks the ball away, and it comes off of Edwards' leg. Slingers ball.
And we have a player shaken up. That's Don Dulay, who is slow to get up.
I did not see what happened there.
Dulay is going to stay in the game. And again, there is some moisture on the floor.
I think that is where Dulay was laying.
Yes. And Dulay now will come out of the game, replaced by Wong Wei Long. So Nio Beng Siong, the coach of the Slingers, taking no chances. And now we're ready to restart. So 3 natural guards on the floor now, Anthony, for the Slingers in Mitchell Folkoff, Wong Wei Long, and Desmond O.
I would expect to see this kind of a lineup for them. They've got a plethora of local guards. That's really what they need to go to. And they've got their 2 bigs in the inside. So expect to see some 3-guard sets out of them.
Wong, now Folkoff going inside. Battle with Jennings, and then Desmond O got away with a trip, and Jennings right there for the dunk, but why was there no foul called? Desmond O clearly tripping Cedric Bozeman. Wow.
I think it was just a case of transition. They missed that call.
So with that, the Slingers take the lead momentarily, I say, as Guga goes inside for the lay-in.
You can see Malaysia is starting to press up their defensive pressure. This is something I expect them to do more.
Mark Jeffries with steps at midcourt.
It looks like here Malaysia is going to a little bit more defensive pressure in the full court, which I think is something to their advantage in a lot of games. They've got length, they've got some speed. This might be something that they want to do more.
Jeffers left alone. Kyle Jeffers will take it from outside and score a long 2 for Jeffers. Gives the Slingers the lead, 24-23.
There are probably some better imports in the ABL, but there are not more consistent imports than Kyle Jeffers.
Guga putting it up and unable to finish. Wong, long pass, Folkoff will drive and draws contact. Bon Sin Wee committing the hard foul on Folkoff.
There's a good play to commit that foul there. We'll see it here as he comes in through, goes up. It's a hard foul, but it's a good foul.
A professional foul. And a timeout here with 5:11 to go in the first half. We got a good one going on at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. As we go to break, Slingers 24, Dragons 23. Fans of the Singapore Indoor Stadium are enjoying this one. The Slingers, with 5:11 to go in the first half, lead the Malaysia Dragons 24-23. Sean Farquhar and the ABL CEO, Anthony Macri, on the call for this one, with Mitchell Folkoff at the line. The ABL audience, Anthony, before this game, were invited to send in some questions and ask the CEO, and we're going to read some of them on the air. Gary in Malaysia asks, "Dear Mr. Macri, will there be an all-star game in the ABL?"
There will be, yes, but it will not be this year. We are in a position where our owners have asked for it. I think the fans want one, but we got to make sure it's the right one. As we see an offensive rebound that leads to an eventual three-pointer, we got to make sure that it's the right kind of event for our fans. This year we will have an event called the ABL Hoops Fest. That'll be in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, which will include some of the events you traditionally see in an All-Star weekend, but not the game itself.
Cedric Bozeman blocked by Kyle Jeffers. And we look forward to the Hoops Fest coming up later this season. Wong Wei Long had hit the three for Singapore at the previous time down the floor. Now Jeffers backs it outside as the Slingers have their biggest lead of the game at 5. Jones-Jennings swatted away by Gavin Edwards. Slingers ball with 5 seconds on the shot clock.
And right now it's going to be...
And we get the Singapore Slingers wanting to talk it over. One more look here at Jones-Jennings. A boarded shot by Edwards.
We've got to have a situation there where he's got to get some lift if he's going to finish at the rim against Gavin Edwards. It's either that or against a shot block happy Gavin Edwards, give him the shot fake, show him the ball, then power through his shot block.
Yep. This a timeout taken by the Singapore Slingers, 28-23, with 4:14 to go in the first half. And the Slingers starting to get more guys involved in the offense. 5 for Don Dulé, 4 for Mitchell Folkoff, Wong Wei Long hitting a triple. These were players that didn't contribute to the Slingers when they lost to the Warriors a week ago.
I'm watching the Malaysia defense, and I'm wondering if they put a lot of emphasis on their on-ball defense. Their pressure is good, but on the weak side, they have not committed to getting to what we would call the midline, the middle of the lane, and that's allowing Singapore to get the ball inside and then find shooters on the opposite side, and those shooters are knocking down shots. That makes it an easy game for the Singapore Slingers.
And harder for the Malaysia Dragons to defend. It'll be Slingers ball with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Folkoff to inbound.
Chavez on the charity strike.
No changes in the two teams on the floor. And Kyle Jeffers, simple pass on the inbound, one step, and he's in for the basket.
That's a simple two-screen play. Jennings setting both screens, one for a corner runner, and the other for Jeffers, who just comes down, catches it, goes in with the right-hand hook.
Edwards can't get it to go. Folkoff, a little stutter step. Still time for the Slingers. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Jeffers freed for the 18-footer. Wow. Jennings going hard down on the court.
Jeffers missed that shot, but if you watch the replay, I don't know if we have it, but if you see it, you'll see that Tatua gets caught underneath the rim. He's helping so far. He's caught in no man's land, and he's not able to recover. And Jennings is going to knock down those shots like he did earlier this game.
The Slingers' lead is 7 at 30-23. Edwards spins on the baseline. Loose ball, and Jennings snares it. Desmond O drives, goes right under the basket. Desmond O is simply refusing to shoot.
They're still experiencing some more success in the offensive end, so he'll get his own confidence later on.
Jennings called for traveling.
Now for fans that may watch the NBA, and in the NBA and even in NCAA basketball, that would not have been called a travel. But in FIBA rules, the way that the rule is interpreted, that is a travel. So there is a difference in the way the rule is interpreted. It's written the same way, but interpreted differently.
Loshi Fai now in the game for Malaysia. Tautua banging with Jennings. And Moala Tautua will go to the line.
He departed the game early, late in the first quarter, hadn't come back for a little while. Now he's back on the floor and trying to go hard, use his size and athleticism. Was able to get the foul there.
Getting Jennings off his feet. So Moala Tautua, who goes an even 2 meters, hits the first of 2. An injury slowing his ability to contribute to the Dragons.
The injury, it appears, also has given him the chance to trim the beard a little bit. He had the James Harden full beard, but now a little trimmer.
Got tight. 30-25, Slingers lead with 2:38 to go in the first half. Wong threading it through to Jeffers. Volkov back to Wong. Jennings. Dulé rotates. Look at Bozeman motoring. Tautua can't follow. Wong. That shot was partially deflected. Jennings back out. Jeffers with a teardrop. 32-25 with 1:52 to go in the first half.
Good interior passing there from the Slingers. Looking a little bit like the Memphis Grizzlies. Gasol to Zach Randolph for the little teardrop finish.
Bozeman works against the much smaller Volkov. Kabahug gets free, goes down the middle, and scores on Broadway.
He's tough. You give him any room at all, he's going to get the shot up. He's going to make it more often than not. And that's a play that they'll try to get him the ball in scoring position anytime they can.
32-27 with 1:15 left. Jeffers, spin move, strong off the glass. Jennings wrestles for it. That's hustle by Rashad Jones-Jennings underneath.
13 offensive rebounds now for the Slingers.
Wong will put it up and score from downtown.
Again, you see the inside out, all of them collapsed. The offensive rebound went to the Slingers. One swing pass and an open jumper leads to a knockdown.
Tautua down the middle. Slingers thought Tautua took too many steps. Instead, the Dragons forward is right back at the line. Kyle Jeffers with a very animated conversation with the officials.
Showing off the dance moves there from Kyle Jeffers.
And he is dangerously close to getting teed up.
And really no reason for it at this point. The Slingers are playing well. They're making shots. Malaysia has a tendency to go into a little bit of a shell, and they're in one right now. And that's a problem for them.
That's 4 free throws for Moala Tautua. 35-29, Slingers leading the Dragons. Skip pass and a beauty. Kyle Jeffers working the high-low game with Mitchell Volkov.
We saw it again, a little backdoor action earlier this game. They missed that pass. This time the overplay and backdoor, easy layup, and a fantastic pass from Kyle Jeffers.
7 seconds remaining in the first half. Here is Bozeman. He scored to end the first. Edwards, and the shot blocked by Jennings. A much better effort at both ends of the floor by the Singapore Slingers gives the Slingers a 37-29 lead at the end of the first half. Here's the defensive hustle of the Slingers to close out the first half, Anthony.
Yeah, they just played harder underneath the rim, and one of the things for the Dragons is while they have length, they don't have a ton of strength, and that was shown right there. Jones Jennings just stronger than anyone on the Dragons.
Big first half for Kyle Jeffers, 16 points, 7 of 14 from the floor, 9 points for Cedric Bozeman. The Dragons shoot 41%, and the Slingers elevating their shooting percentage to 40% in that second quarter.
Absolutely, and we see again the Slingers able to get production from some of their other players besides just Jeffers or Jones Jennings, getting various players to contribute points, especially off of kickouts and offensive rebounds for three-pointers.
Let's send it over to our Michelle Holland.
Thank you, Sean. I'm here with Coach Neo, the head coach of the Singapore Slingers. Coach, offense has been a big word this past week. Why don't you talk to us about that a bit?
Basically, last couple of games our offense is horrible, but now we tidy up. Basically, keep on encourage the players. You get ourselves be more confident to take the open shots. That's all.
And who do you think is your biggest threat out there tonight?
Well, everybody as a team play a part. So it's basically, we work as a team, we play as a team. That's what we want to see throughout the whole game.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach Neo. Sean.
5 different Singapore Slingers scoring in that first half, and they lead at 37-29. When we return, analysis and first half highlights. You're watching the ABL on Super Sports Arena.
Come on, let's hear it, man. Let's get that one, don't get wet.
Singapore Slingers lead the Westport Malaysia Dragons 37-29. Welcome back to Singapore, everyone. Sean Farquhar, Anthony Macri, the ABL CEO. Anthony, we talked about at the start of this game how the Dragons were going to have to do something to slow down Kyle Jeffers. They got burnt by a center and Chris Charles before. What were they going to do to slow down Kyle Jeffers? The answer so far, nothing.
No, nothing at all. And I think it's been in the similar way that they were torched by Chris Charles. They were torched here by Kyle Jeffers, both from inside and from outside, hitting jumpers. They just have no way to stop him right now.
Kyle Jeffers with 16 points in that first half. We also talked about the fact that the Slingers had to get shooting from outside. They have 4 threes in the first half. Everything working for Neo Beng Seong, coach of the Slingers.
Absolutely, and a lot of those threes have come off of inside-outside actions, especially off of offensive rebounds, and that's a huge problem. We saw that in the last game when the Malaysia Dragons had trouble containing the boards against the Thailand Slammers, and this game they've done no better as Singapore has just gone to the offensive boards again and again and really gotten a lot out of it.
Let's take a look at how the first half developed. Here are highlights from the first 2 quarters. And the Dragons looking to get something going on the inside early. Bonsin Wee with the first 2 buckets for the Malaysia Dragons. And then inside, Cedric Bozeman, who would go on to have 9 points by the time the first half had ended.
And this is where you see them getting out in transition. They're very hard to stop when they're in transition. In the half court, a little bit easier to deal with, even though they get a bucket here. But this team was hot early, and then they just went on one of their classic spells where they can't make shots.
And then Moala Tautua getting behind everyone on the Slingers' deep ends. And the Dragons right here had themselves their biggest lead of the game, a lead they would relinquish in the second quarter. Mitchell Volkov shooting from beyond the arc, and Jones Jennings getting stopped, and Kyle Jeffers just owning things in the lane here against Malaysia.
Offensive rebound, putback is good. And you see Jeffers again going to work on the low post.
This to close out the first quarter, Anthony. Cedric Bozeman, you talked about his ability to change speeds, and everyone just blown away by how smooth he is.
Yeah, he just is, and he's able to change speeds, change gears. He takes it to a whole nother level, and really in our league, there aren't too many guys that do that.
Kyle Jeffers completing a 3-point play there, and at the other end, Bozeman saving the ball and getting it to Gavin Edwards. But from there, the Slingers went to work. Don Delay drilling the 3-pointer to give them the lead. And how about this? The no call at midcourt, that's some of the leads we're not going to look at.
No doubt we've got to make sure that our officials are paying attention at all play at both ends and in transition as well.
Wong-Wei Long coming off the bench for a tray. Kyle Jeffers continuing to operate at will in the paint.
And here he is again. Gets inside, pass back and forth. Great interior passing leads to the easy bucket.
And a sequence there. How about the passing of Kyle Jeffers? Jeffers, in addition to his 16 points, he also has 5 assists, and that is a lot for a big man. All the statistics here. The Westport Malaysia Dragons, nothing going from downtown. 0 of 2. Field goal percentage is pretty much even.
Yeah, they started off the game very hot. They've since cooled, and the Singapore Slingers have gotten open shots and knocked them down.
So let's talk about guys that have really yet to get involved. Gavin Edwards has been a non-factor on the offensive end for Malaysia. They need him to contribute.
Absolutely. I think that he's been muscled a little bit in this game, and that's something that we could see as a problem for Malaysia throughout the season. Their imports are tall and long and athletic, but they don't have a ton of strength, and that was something they took advantage of here.
Once again, The Westport Malaysia Dragons do not have a traditional center, so Kyle Jeffers just operating very well, 16 points, and he was cruising in that first half.
Yeah, every single which way he was getting points on the low block. He was getting them off offensive rebounds. He was shooting jump shots. There were just a lot of places he could find to operate, and you know the Slingers let it. And in this case, we saw last week the Indonesia Warriors allowed Jeffers to get points, but they locked everyone else down. In this game, it didn't matter. They were just able to get points around him as well.
So Kyle Jeffers preparing now for the third quarter. Meanwhile, for the Westport Malaysia Dragons, Cedric Bozeman, 9 points, but it's a big load for him to carry on a solo effort.
Absolutely, and he's done everything he can. He is able to get into the lane a lot of different ways. He's very athletic, finishing around the rim. He can post up as well, especially against the smaller Slingers defenders. But he can't do everything, and unfortunately, you haven't seen a lot of help from the rest of the Dragons so far.
And there is Bozeman shooting 50% on 4 of 8 from outside. All right, so at the half, 37-29, the Singapore Slingers leading the Westport Malaysia Dragons. The Slingers have got it going both inside and from outside. Ariel Vanguardia has to make adjustments going into the third quarter.
There's no doubt about it. And I think it starts on the defensive end, not necessarily on the offensive end. When they pressed up a little bit on the Slingers, they got turnovers, and it led to transition buckets. And that's something the Dragons can use coming into this second half.
We'll step away, and when we come back, the third quarter live coverage, the 2013 ABL continues on Supersports Arena. Back live at the Singapore Indoor Stadium, Michelle Holland, ABL CEO Anthony Macri, and Sean Farquhar. The third quarter now underway. The JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers leading the Westport Malaysia Dragons 37-29. Don Dulay, Rashad Jennings, Kyle Jeffers, Mitchell Folkoff, and Desmond O for the Slingers begin the third quarter. Cedric Bozeman now with the ball, flies inside, tough angle, tap back, loose ball, and Jennings comes up with it. Bozeman is on the floor with Gavin Edwards, Bonson Wee, Moala Tautua, and Guga.
You can see already an increased defensive pressure from the Malaysia Dragons this half.
Dulay will go down the middle. Three won't go. Battle for it. Won by Folkoff. He flips it up. Knocked back. And the Slingers somehow come up with it. Dulay flipping it up. And Don Dulay will earn a pair of free throws. So in this third quarter, to begin it, the Slingers getting everyone involved on offense. What sort of adjustments do you see Ariel Vanguardia making, Anthony, with his team down 8?
I think the number one thing that they've got to look at right now is why is Singapore getting every loose ball? Every single time the ball's on the ground, it's a Singapore player who gets it. Right on that play just now, you had Cedric Bozeman tied up with Folkoff, and Folkoff is able to rip it away from him. And that happened a few times in the first half, where a Slinger was able to get his hands on a loose ball and convert it into production for Singapore.
The key stat in that first half, 13 offensive rebounds for the Slingers, just 4 for the Dragons. And once again, a tie-up. Oh, the Slingers battling for every ball.
I think this is just a case of toughness, and you see the Slingers exhibiting it. You don't see a ton of it from the Dragons right now.
Possession arrow favoring Malaysia. So here's Guga. Shot down to Bozeman. Corner 3 is short. Tautua right there, too strong on the offensive rebound, and Dulay will push it up the floor. Dulay looking for the reversal, yes, with the left hand, glides inside.
It's a beautiful play there, we can see it here. Guga overplays him on the high side, and he just crosses over and gets right to the rim.
40-29. 8:17 to go, Bozeman flashing inside.
And this is a moment here where the Malaysia Dragons can't get caught with their heads down thinking about what could have been. They can only focus on the next possession.
Jeffers knocking that one out, and they say Jeffers with a foot on the line. Kyle Jeffers really got into it with the officials in the first half, and here with a stare down. You be the judge. Watch the foot. Frankly, I thought he had gotten rid of the ball first, but play continues.
In the end, in a play like that on Jeffers, he can't put himself in that position locked on the sideline. So he shouldn't put the referee in that position to make that call.
Dulay. Jennings. It's down to the block. Jeffers will put it on the floor. Oh, swooping in and has it stripped by Tautua. Bozeman, solo effort, and he was way out of position. Flipped up, Jennings. That dunk gives the Slingers an 11-point lead, a 42-31.
Well, the Malaysia Dragons have not been a team that's come out well in third quarters, and that looks to be continuing here.
Off-balance shot, and Edwards not in position at all for the putback dunk. And the Dragons really out of sync now on offense.
Absolutely, and you see the Slingers, not the possession that they just got the dunk, but the possession before, looking to get Desmond O involved. They're trying to find him on the block. They're trying to get him some kind of look that can get him going, because they need him, not just this game, but for really the rest of the year.
And here is O. Jeffers against the smaller Tautua. Low Shipai. Squares up, gets free. Edwards, offensive rebound. And a foul will keep the ball at that end of the floor.
We had a little bit of cross-matching there on that possession, and it gave, you can see Edwards going up. You had both Edwards and Tautua guarded by players under 6 foot, and that made for easy offensive rebounds if they went to the board. They did that time.
Kabahug in rhythm. Rebound Jennings. Dulé up, and rocking the rim is Kyle Jeffers.
That was a fantastic pass from Tom Dulé. He thread the needle, he knew where he'd be, and he got the flush. That was an unbelievable play.
Ariel Vanguardia has seen enough. With 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, Kyle Jeffers gives the Slingers a 13-point lead back to the Singapore Indoor Stadium after this. Slingers leading the Dragons 44-31 as we get you back to the indoor stadium. 5:55 to go in the third. Here is Pat Kabahug bringing up the floor and then losing the handle. Tapped, and a loose ball foul will be called on Rashad Jennings.
The amazing thing there was the Slingers came out in full court pressure. Malaysia completely unprepared for it. You could tell they had talked about their offensive set, but didn't really get into what they needed to do against pressure there. It startled them. They were fortunate to have the basketball here.
So Neo Bing Xiong adding a wrinkle coming out of a timeout. Bozeman at the top, jumps into the middle. Volkov gets his hand in. Here's O, flashes across the middle. Dulé will put up the three. Jennings with the offensive rebound. It'll be interesting at the end to count up the second chance points the Slingers have had today. Volkov. Jennings. O along the baseline, and a blocking foul on Bozeman.
You see the difference between these two teams in terms of offensive approach right now. Malaysia going a lot of one-on-one, really relying on their imports. Meanwhile, Singapore getting the ball from one side of the court to the other, along with penetration, either via the dribble or the pass, and that's leading to open scores. And in this case, you had a situation with a foul.
14 seconds on the shot clock. That was the first foul, by the way, on Cedric Bozeman. Volkov for three. Will track it down.
Looked like a little bit of zone there from the Malaysia Dragons. We'll see if they come back to that.
Edwards, spin move, and a rare score for Gavin Edwards, just his second bucket of the night.
Catch and a quick attack there from Gavin Edwards gets the bucket.
Long way long.
Zone again here from the Dragons.
Long will put it up and get nothing but net.
Well, you'll live with that shot sometimes. They have not made it thus far this year, but Coach Ariel Vanguardia trying to get something to go.
That's a goaltend on Jennings. Ball going into the basket. Take a look here. Now the ball can be touched on the rim, but here it was on the way down, thus the goaltend.
Yeah, it's got to be above the cylinder in order for that to be knocked away. And it's got to hit the rim first before you're not to knock it away. That's a FIBA rule, different from the NBA.
Wing 3 is short. Jeffers inside, Jennings untouched. The official says so. Turnover to Jennings, and the Dragons get the ball down 14. 4:08 to go in the third. They trailed by 8 to begin this quarter.
Malaysia's a very explosive team. They could easily go on a run here.
And as you say that, Gavin Edwards with an easy score in the interior. Edwards now with 6.
Malaysia staying in that zone, trying to get coverage in all different areas of the court.
Wong swings it. Blocked, and then Edwards simply takes it away from Wong Wei Long. Low Shi Fai, right side 3, yes!
Nice play there from the Dragons. They're able to get out in transition, find a shooter with an open shot on the wing, and he'll knock that one down.
Getting the Dragons within 7, and this timeout called by the Singapore Slingers, with the Dragons scoring twice in a row down the floor.
Well, there's no doubt about the fact that in this timeout they're talking about how to counteract that Malaysia zone, because the zone is giving them a little bit of trouble. The same shots that are available against man-to-man are not available against the zone. And you can see a drive baseline is swallowed up by Gavin Edwards. They're not able to get Kyle Jeffers the ball in scoring positions, and that's problematic. Can they get some outside shots? Sure.
Slingers defending well, no one really in foul trouble. How about Jennings? 14 rebounds. That's his job. That's what they have brought him in to do, and it is certainly working tonight.
He clears out a lot of space. He uses his body well. He led the NCAA in rebounding in college.
So Vanguardia trying to keep a good thing going here in the bottom end of the third quarter as his Dragons claw to within 7.
We'll see if they stay in that zone here. It
John
looks
Ung,
like they are.
Anthony John Ung and Low Shi Fai, the 2 Malaysians on the floor for the Dragons. Desmond O allowed to glide in and score unscathed.
Well, that was just a play. He took advantage of a gap in the zone defense of the Malaysia Dragons. I would expect that gap to get swallowed up next time.
Pakabaha slaloming inside, offers up the 12-footer, no good. Desmond O. Jeffers plucking that into midair and scoring on a hook shot.
Jeffers is going a little bit of beast right now.
Low, a deuce if it goes. The Slingers lead is 11. Wong to O. Wong Wei Long for 3. Cedric Bozeman clears glass.
That's a great defensive possession there for the Dragons.
Kabahug baseline, hits the runner.
Nice play there from Kabahug, who's patient. He didn't take the first shot, but he took the best shot available.
Kabatu. Good spacing by these Slingers, Anthony, to spread the floor against Malaysia in the half court.
They are getting good spacing, but the thing I'd like to see is more interior passing and the ball to go inside out.
CEOs are so fussy. Kabatu from outside. 3 too strong. Jennings saves it. Last touched by Junjay Kabatu. Dragons ball. 1:37 to play in the third quarter, and it's a 9-point Slingers lead. Dragons trying to avoid a 4th straight loss. Slingers hoping to end a 2-game skid.
We see them going back to some full court pressure here. Slingers had done this earlier. A little token pressure.
Guga at the top. After a long spell on the bench, Guga will put it on the floor. Still Dragons ball. Guga Neswaran, one of the best three-point shooters in the ABL to begin the season, as we see Kabaha lose it. And yet the Dragons only have 1-3 today. Kabatu, and will score on the lay-in, beating everyone down the floor.
This right here is what we would call a danger time for the Malaysia Dragons. They cannot allow this separation to go too much so late in the game.
Bozeman. Banging. Edwards. And knocked Wong Wei Long with a heads-up play, knocking it off Gavin Edwards.
If I'm Coach Ariel Vanguardi, I'm already thinking about showing every single loose ball to my team on video because the Slingers are just quicker. They're just getting to every ball.
A team not particularly noted for their quickness to begin the season. 37.3 seconds to go in the third. Jeffers out on Bozeman. That is Kwon Yoon Jing coming off the bench. And that is a 2 from Kwon. So the lead is 9 with 7 seconds to go in the third. Dulé. Jennings has it stripped. Guga puts it up. The Singapore Slingers led by 8 to begin the third quarter, and they are going to take a 9-point lead into the fourth. They are 10 minutes away from running their record to an even 500. We'll have that fourth quarter for you when we come back on Super Sports Arena. We welcome you back to the Singapore Indoor Stadium. 53-44 going into the fourth quarter. During the break, Anthony, we were talking about the differences between these two teams. The shooting is even, rebounding edge for the Slingers, but 17 assists for the Singapore Slingers. They are really spreading the wealth.
Yeah, 17 assists on 21 made field goals. That's something that really tells success at the NBA level for sure. The teams that have the most percentage, the highest percentage of assisted field goals are always the best teams in the league. And we see that being the case here for the Slingers being better than the Dragons so far.
Don Dulé, Wong Wei Long, Junjay Kabatu, Kyle Jeffers, and Rashad Jennings begin the fourth. For Singapore, Gavin Edwards, Guga, Cedric Bozeman, Kwan Yoon Jing, and Lo Shi Fai start the fourth. As Ariel Vanguardia wants to give his team a different look. Dulé short on the long two.
Dragons went back to man-to-man there.
Bozeman driving and lost the handle. That is their 12th turnover of this game to 16 for Singapore. Jennings on the inside, and the foul that is on Kwang Yoon Jing. Kwang, one of a series of promising Malaysian players, along with Lo Shi Fai, Bonson Wee. Wong, spin move, offloads. Kabatu, Jeffers with 1 second on the shot clock. And they say that touched the rim, so play continues. Wong shakes free of his man. Jeffers, the hook shot, he has a soft pair of gloves there in the middle.
That was their 19th offensive rebound, and you see it just continually turn into points. And Coach Ariel Vanguardia not pleased with the rebounding effort from his troops.
22 points for Kyle Jeffers. He has been a monster today. At the break, the Slingers lead by 11. Back live at the Singapore Indoor Stadium, where we have some ABL owners, Anthony, in attendance. Take us through them.
Well, in the back row back there, you've got Henry Wynn, one of the majority owner, actually, of the Saigon Heat. He's in town for this game. Ruben Nenelingam, he's the owner of the Westport Malaysia Dragons, one of 3. And then on his right in the purple was Eric Tohir. He's the one of the co-founders of the ABL, also the president of Siaba, and one of the owners of the league. So some major players in the ABL on hand for this game.
And we are delighted to have the ABL CEO, Anthony Macri, with us in the booth. 55-44, Slingers leading the Dragons. Here's Dulé. Wong Wei Long. Down the middle. Boy, he is fearless going into the lane. At the other end, Bozeman. The shot is waved off, and the Dragons will have it.
Bozeman there, the angry dribble toward the middle of the lane.
We have time for another question from the ABL audience. Anthony, ABL CEO, do you envision eventually expanding to all of the ASEAN nations?
We would love to. I think that it is a situation where we need to find the right ownership groups, folks that are really committed and have the same kind of vision that we have for what this league can be. I would love to be able to tell you that we're going to continue to expand next year. We're working on it. We would love to bring in some teams from other countries in the region, and that's one of our missions, is to expand the game of basketball throughout Southeast Asia. So yes, absolutely, we will look to make that move into other areas.
With 24 seconds on the shot clock, Slingers are bringing up the floor. 2 years ago, someone had told me that basketball was going to be a big hit here. Dewey in transition, and the foul by Guga to deny the easy lay-in. But 2 years ago, if someone had told me that basketball was going to be a huge hit in Ho Chi Minh City, I wouldn't have believed it. The Saigon Heat, right from the tap, have been a major success story. Absolutely. They've done a fantastic job there, energizing the local crowd, getting people engaged and interested in the game, and filling a void. There is, is a tremendous middle class growing in Vietnam. They want sport entertainment, and the Saigon Heat are there to give it to them. Now, we talk about all the ASEAN nations. I mean, is it realistic to have an ABL franchise in Cambodia, in Laos, in Myanmar? Is it realistic right now? No. Can it be realistic? See the monster flush there from Gavin Edwards. Can it be realistic? Yes, and the reason it can be is because we have the ability, in our league is set up to have imports. And that is what raises the quality of play and allows the locals to get better continuously. Can it happen in the future? I think absolutely it can. And in fact, I've spoken with a number of folks in Myanmar in recent weeks. It would not surprise me at all as Guga nails a three. He's been kind of absent earlier, but a lot of action there while we were talking. Myanmar, we've had a number of folks in Myanmar that have expressed some interest. We're trying to put together the best ownership group that we can for the people in Myanmar to have a team of their own. And we'll keep our eye on that as it develops. That three by Guga for the Dragons gets them within 8, down 57-49 with 7:08 to go. So the Slingers here taking a timeout. Let's see if we can hear what Yo Ben Seong has to say.
Everyone needs to be active. They're pressing. You understand? Everyone's got to be
We can hear Coach Yo talking about moving the ball, getting everyone involved in the offense, and it's the Slingers now who are at a dangerous juncture. There's still all kinds of time. An 8-point lead can be erased by the Dragons in a flash.
Basketball is known as a game of runs. You get a ton of runs. It's not like football or soccer where you can have a situation where teams don't score for a while at a time, even if they're dominating. In basketball, runs of 8-0, 7-1, coming back and forth can happen at all times. The Slingers have gotten a little bit stagnant against the Malaysia Dragons' pressure, and they paid for it on those last couple possessions.
Jennings waits for help to arrive. This is Wong. They try and trap him in the corner. Wong going down, and Jeffers controls. Offensive rebounding continues for the Slingers. Jeffers against Edwards. Leaner, no good. Low sheet by with the rebound.
The first part of that possession was fantastic for the Dragons defensively.
Wow, Cedric Bozeman right down the middle, cruising in for the deuce.
It's just impressive from Cedric Bozeman. He looks like he's got a little bit in his eye right now, like he wants to take this game over.
Slingers lead trimmed to 6. Jennings bangs with Edwards, trying to reverse. Boy, he is an adventure when he gets underneath the basket.
They didn't bring him there to score. He's there to rebound.
Guga wants a 3. Bozeman, important offensive rebound, and Cedric Bozeman is going to the line.
He's working right now. You can see him here, just working down low, gets the ball up with his left hand, can't quite get it to go, but he'll go to the line. And Cedric Bozeman, he's the kind of player in our league that can impose his will on a game. And he's trying to do it right now to bring his team back.
Had an ear infection that cleared up in time for this game. 7 of 14 from outside. 1 of 2. Moala Tautua, as the Slingers failed to seal him off. And just like that, the Dragons are within 5.
They're within 3, Sean. This is a one-possession game.
Check that. My mistake. It is a 3-point lead.
3-0 after 1 leg of personal foul.
You have to wonder right here, how much energy have they expended and can they keep it up over this last 5:46?
Dulé swings outside to Jeffers. Long way long off the glass, and Jeffers goes inside. Kyle Jeffers feeling it. He has 24.
I mean, it's hard to say, he's a young guy still, but Kyle Jeffers is just like a man among boys out on the floor when he's going to the rim.
Bozeman for the triple. Tautua, big rebound, skying for it. Jennings clamps down on it. Volkov comes up with it.
Every single loose ball still going Slingers' way.
Jeffers comes over. Dulé for 3. Wong popping up. And you're right, Anthony. The Slingers just contesting every loose ball. 13-point edge and offensive rebounding for the Slingers today. Wong down the middle. Dragons have numbers. Tautua across the middle. Knocked out. And they're going to say Dragons ball with 16 seconds on the shot clock.
Anytime the ball's on the floor, a Slinger's the first one to it. They're the ones with hands on it. And those kind of teams that are just willing to mix it up end up having an advantage. We see here that the Slingers have 23 offensive rebounds. The Dragons only have 30 defensive rebounds. So, they're just getting to the ball more, and that's going to be a problem for the Dragons.
Low from the corner. Yes! Low sheet buys 3. Makes it a 2-point lead. That is a gutsy 3-pointer from the Malaysian. Jeffers, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Times his jump. Dragons can tie. Edwards, skip past Tautua on a leaner. Loose ball, Guga. Now Tautua bangs and gets the roll. And we are deadlocked at 59. It's been a long way back for the Westport Malaysia Dragons.
This is bend but don't break time for the Slingers. They want to find a basket here. They're looking to find Jeffers in a pick and roll situation.
Dulé trips on the floor, and he has strained his leg. Up come the Dragons. And then Cedric Bozeman, he's also down, so we have a Dragon down at 1 on the floor, and here's Don Dulé favoring that left leg.
He's got a cramp. It looks like a calf. Definitely a cramp right here. They're trying to work on Don Dulé's leg.
Now at the other end of the floor, and I hope we get a look at this, and Cedric Bozeman he's really limping that left leg. Now that was, you can see immediately Dulé grabbing the left knee. He's able to go off on his own accord, but at the other end of the floor, Cedric Bozeman, he's really favoring that left foot.
Let's see if we can see anything here.
It just looks like the legs went out from under Cedric Bozeman. He grabs that left knee and he's getting treatment.
Just as they got back into the game, their star player has to come out.
Bonsin Wee now on the floor in place of Bozeman. Desmond O outside, Volkov for the triple. Bang! That ends the drought, and now a player in the middle of the floor, Desmond O, goes down. And he is crumpled up on the right of your picture. Players really dropping now, Anthony.
Yeah, and it just doesn't seem like there was any action on the floor near Desmond O. They are calling.
To be clear here, the score, Slingers 62, Dragons 59 with an even 3 minutes left.
It didn't look like there was anyone near him on the court.
I wonder if it's just guessing as he cramped up. So to bring you up to date, Don Dulé off the floor for the Slingers. Cedric Bozeman went off, clutching his left knee, and now Desmond O. And we're going to have another look here at what happened. Watch Desmond O. Now a collision there, and we don't see him going down there.
He tried to run back the other way and crumpled. I mean, and you know, you never want to guess on these. You don't know what's happening. But that collision could have been anything from, you know, a rib to a cramp. Obviously clutching there around his ribs area.
So Desmond O has to be carried off the floor.
And that, I mean, if it is a rib, that can be one of the most painful things that you can have when you're trying to run up and down a court and breathe. It is almost impossible.
He was in visible pain. Now at the other end, the Dragons down by 3. Lo Shi-Fi is at the line. So don't go anywhere. This game wide open with 3 minutes left. Low with his first make. That brings Malaysia within 2. Michael Johnson pensively looks on. He hits both. 62-61, Slingers lead. Dragons playing without their top scorer, Cedric Bozeman. Slingers missing their #1 point guard, Don Dulé, and their 2 guard, Desmond O. 2 seconds to shoot. Volkov had to hurry it. He hit the rim, and Junjay Kabatu with an offensive rebound, which has been the story of the game for the Singapore Slingers.
You had a fantastic defensive possession there from Malaysia, and they don't finish it with a rebound. And like you said, that's the story of the game so far.
Wong slithering inside and hits the runner. That is a big shot with 2:12 left.
Huge shot. Tremendous move on the baseline. Throws it up and gets it to go. We've seen the Slingers a little bit out of sorts in the offensive end, but between offensive rebounds and some nice shot making, able to convert.
Bond off balance. Jennings clears glass. Slingers with the ball and a 3-point lead. Wong will elevate. Jeffers pulls it off the rim. Bond. Excellent defense by the Slingers, and they come up with the loose ball. Guga, the other end, as it's tapped back by Malaysia. They don't need the 3 here. Foul on Kyle Jeffers. Now hold on a moment. That's an offensive foul against Moala Tautua. And he is furious, Anthony.
He's incensed there, but I'm not sure that he doesn't. I don't think he has a real reason to be. I think that Jeffers was able to establish himself. He went right into his chest, and when you turn and drop the shoulder, that is an offensive foul.
And Bozeman is back into the game, and I think Kyle Jeffers, not sure if he was winded.
I do not believe Bozeman is going to stay in the game. He tried to make it a go, but I don't think he can do it.
No, you can see him shaking his head, and he's done for the night. So the Dragons will have to win this one without him. All right, so the Slingers with the ball and a 3-point lead, a minute 10 to play at the indoor stadium. Jeffers to Jennings in the middle. Volkov sends it outside. Wong. Kabahug is matched up with him. Wong way long. Puts it up. Jennings in the corner. Slingers take a lot of time off the clock. And Lo Shi-Fai bumps Wong Wei Long to draw the whistle.
Again, an offensive rebound, a loose ball tracked down and eventually gathered by the Singapore Slingers. And they get another possession here, which just allows them to burn time off the clock, up by 3 with 43 seconds left.
The Dragons are over the limit, putting Wong on the line. So even with the make here, it's a 2-possession game for the Malaysia Dragons with 43.3 seconds left. So Wong clutched the line, and the Westport Malaysia Dragons will call timeout, trailing the Slingers 66-61. Difficult spot for the Dragons without their go-to guy, Cedric Bozeman.
Absolutely, but they've got to find a way to get a quick shot here. They want to see if they can score. They do not need a 3. There is no reason for them to go for 3 here. In fact, they should be looking to get the easiest shot that they can, and really driving the ball at the rim is the best way to do it. They increase the likelihood of getting a foul, and the more fouls obviously leads up toward free throws later on. And so if you're the Dragons, you're trying to get some kind of action at the rim. That's what you're looking for, and you've got to send multiple guys to the offensive board.
Now let's assume that they get the shot. Do you then immediately foul?
I don't think you have to here. The shot clock, it depends upon how long into this shot possession that they get their shot. There's 43 seconds left on the game clock. 24 will be on the shot clock. So they have the ability here to get a shot early enough that they can force a full possession out of the Singapore Slingers. And as long as they can secure the rebound, which has been shaky so far, but if they can secure the rebound, maybe they can come back for another possession.
Rebounding, a big statistic today. The Slingers 41, the Dragons 32, but on the offensive glass, Slingers with 23 to just 11 for the Westport Malaysia Dragons. Lo Shi-Fai to inbound. Kabahug tries the 3, and Jeffers pulls down the rebound.
I'm not sure. I mean, I like Patrick Kabahug's shooting. I think he's a great shooter. I think you want to get him the ball in as many spots as you can. And you do want a quick shot. But that's not the shot that they need to get. They need to get actions at the rim.
We had a quick look at Desmond O with a nice pack in his abdominal area. Turned over at midcourt. So the Dragons will get it back. Down by 5 with 34 seconds left.
Again, they do not need a 3 here. They can go attack the rim.
Low circles, tries the right side 3, and it scores. And a timeout here taken by the Slingers. It's 66-64 with 29 seconds left.
Well, they may not have needed a 3, but they took it and they got it obviously cutting it now to a 2-point lead. 29 seconds left in the game, 24 on the shot clock, so there is a 5-second difference there. The question is, do you foul early or not? And there are schools of thought here that say you don't, that you trust your defense at least for the first few seconds of the possession.
Assume for a moment that the Slingers run it all the way down and miss. The Dragons would get the ball back, down a deuce, and you got 5 seconds to set something up.
It's a tough position to be in. What I think you have to do here is try to extend the game. Personal philosophy. What I'm going to try to do is trap somewhere on the ball. I get my first hard trap and attempt to steal. If I don't get that first trap to succeed and attempt to steal, then I'm going to go foul. And I'm going to try to extend the game. Okay? It's just a matter of preference. Some coaches will choose to trust their defense. Some will choose to extend. In this case, for the Dragons, the opponent is not the Slingers. The opponent is the clock. And that's what they've got to keep in mind.
The Slingers, by calling timeout, advance the ball. So Jennings to inbound. He's got Kabatu, Jeffers, Volkov, and Wong Wei along with him. Lo Shifai, Pakabahug, Guga, Gavin Edwards, and Moala Tautua to finish this one, or so you would expect for the Malaysia Dragons.
Looks like some stack action here for the Slingers. That's lined up all at the free throw line. And the Dragons not in man-to-man here. It looks like they're looking to go a little bit of a zone look, which is kind of an interesting move. It may signal that they're going to try and play out this possession.
Let's go, Slingers.
Jennings having difficulty getting it in. And he gets bailed out as Lo Shifai tapped it out. Well defended by Malaysia on the inbound.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of a matchup there. They matched up after the first 2 seconds of the inbound.
Jeffers out high. Dragons not fouling. Jeffers at the baseline, it's stolen. Wow, Moala Tautua, and they can't hit the dunk. An unbelievable sequence. Wow, Moala Tautua had a clear path to the basket, should have been the automatic flush to tie, and can't finish.
And he is devastated right here. He knows.
Let's see it again. Excellent steal, and then Tautua going in. Wow, mistimed his jump.
Absolutely. I don't even know if it was a simple situation of mistiming or tried to just throw it down too hard. Tried to get for the wow play instead of the easy play.
Kabatu at the line makes it a 3-point lead. And here is the money free throw that would make it a 2-possession game for the Dragons. It's a make for Junjay Kabatu. Google will bring it up. 7 seconds to go. Slingers avoid the foul. Lo Shifai hits. And that will do it. It'll go into the books as a 1-point Singapore Slingers win, 68-67. Now, Ariel Vanguardia, we need to stay with this. Ariel Vanguardia is arguing at the end. I'm not sure what his beef is. Lo Shifai hit the 3. Now, it may have something to do with the clock, and he is saying...
That's still 1.9 seconds.
Right, he's saying that the shot was hit with 1.9 seconds left. So we are not done. We are not done. The Slingers lead 68-67. That's a heads-up move by Ariel Vanguardia, because the players were walking off the floor, Anthony.
Just recognizing the situation. We'll see if they can get anything here. Long pass down.
Long pass, and Jeffers comes up with it. And that will do it. The JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers outlast the Westport Malaysia Dragons 68-67. A wild finish here at the indoor stadium. 26 points for Kyle Jeffers, Junjay Kabatu with the clutch free throws, and that man, is the GOAT. Moala Tautua had a dunk that he could not convert. That would have tied the game and seemingly sent us into overtime.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I'm sure you can see it on his face right now. He is devastated. He knows he had a play to finish it. The Dragons right now obviously going through a very rough stretch of their season, and he feels like it's on him right now.
The Slingers win it by 1. We'll take a break and come back for the recap. Stay with us on Super Sports Arena. Back at the Singapore Indoor Stadium, where the Slingers win a narrow one here against the Westport Malaysia Dragons, 68-67. A crazy finish here at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. Moala Tautua, Anthony Macri, had a clear path to the basket with the Dragons down by 2 and blows the dunk. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, a fast break. They got exactly what they wanted, a turnover at midcourt. It led right to a layup, and Tautua attempted to just dunk the ball too hard. He went for an emphatic finish when all he needed to do was make any finish, and obviously he is feeling it right now as he walked off the court devastated.
Meanwhile, the Singapore Slingers center, Kyle Jeffers, had really a career game against the Westport Malaysia Dragons. 26 points, and he is standing by with our Michelle Holland.
Thank you, Sean. Yes, I am here with the player of the game, Kyle Jeffers. Kyle, an impressive performance again tonight, another impressive performance. 26 points for your team, 27 points last week, although you lost that one. What were your expectations coming into tonight's game?
Just coming out playing hard, being aggressive, confident, and sticking together as a team, and just looking forward.
Great, and it seemed like a particularly physical game out there today. How is that the case?
Yeah, it was really aggressive out there. They're big guys. They got a lot of strong forwards, strong guards, and yeah, that was one of the things we definitely need to continue to improve on, is to match other teams' physicality and not get pushed around and just hold our ground.
And as I said last week, although you lost, you put 27 points in for your team. What are your thoughts ahead of your next meeting with the Indonesia Warriors, which is on the 13th of February?
Continue to play team defense. We know that they're a strong team. They're really good. And we just have to continue to work on our offense, fine-tune our team chemistry, and defensively stick together, play as a unit, and help each other out, and just play hard. And when you play 100% plus, makes up for a lot of mistakes.
Great. Kyle Jeffers, player of the game. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
26 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Great game for Kyle Jeffers. But Anthony, we talked about other Slingers having to get involved. Junjay Kabatu was one of 8 different guys for Singapore who scored.
Yeah, absolutely, and they found scoring in different spots. They were able to get the ball inside out, make some threes, and a lot of them came off of offensive rebounds where they absolutely killed the Dragons. 23 offensive rebounds against 32 total rebounds for the Dragons. That's not going to get it done on almost any night.
11 offensive rebounds, a disappointed Westport Malaysia Dragons team. and they are Michelle is standing by with Ariel Vanguardia.
Thank you, Sean. I am here with Coach Vanguardia. Now, Coach Vanguardia, your rebound game, let's talk about that. How are we going to turn it around?
Well, we've been trying our best in practice, and if we only play the way we played in the fourth quarter, we're hustling, we're getting opportunities, those loose balls and rebounds. That's the game for us, and that's probably the season for us, the rebounding. Maybe we gotta find a way to come up with those rebounds and loose balls, and we're gonna win games if we do that.
Now, Cedric Bozeman, he's one of your new imports, certainly made his mark on the season. He fell with 3 minutes to go on the clock. How is he? What happened?
Well, I don't know yet. I have to ask my official about it, but it's a big loss. He couldn't finish the game for us. But still, those that finished the game, the five, really gave it their all, and when you had the opportunity to win ball game, you'll take those. It's just frustrating that we lost, but we gave it our best shot.
You did indeed. And looking ahead to the next game against the San Miguel Beermen, what are the areas you're going to focus on for that game?
Number one again is rebounding, because they're a big team. There's a huge team, and we gotta really box out and get those. Everybody gotta gang rebound and get it.
Okay, Coach Vanguardia, thanks for joining us.
And really doesn't get any easier, Anthony, for the Malaysia Dragons. An 11-day break before they meet the Saigon Heat. They also have a couple of bigs, David Palmer, DR Larhorn. So really, for Dragons, they got to work on a strategy for rebounding.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. Pat Riley, the great coach, once said rebounding is rings. And we see for the Malaysia Dragons, they need to find a way to rebound. But the interesting thing is people think of rebounding as above the rim. In reality, for the Dragons, it's all about what happens under the rim. Are they getting physical box outs? Are they able to push guys out of spaces, remove them from areas, and then are they getting to loose balls? I would say out of those 23 offensive rebounds for the Slingers, half of them were loose ball rebounds that could have gone to either team, and the Slingers were just quicker to them. And you can't let that happen if you're the Westports Malaysia Dragons.
Offense spread around for the Singapore Slingers, and that was something that Nyo Beng Seong worked on with the Slingers since their loss last week to the Warriors, and Nyo Beng Seong is with Michelle.
Thank you. Yes, Coach Neo, I had a different conversation with Coach Vanguardia about the rebounding game. Yours seem to be pretty good tonight.
Yeah, basically we got two bigs there, and basically everybody's going for rebound and hustle, dive on the loose ball, which is great. We need to keep that up.
Yeah, certainly. These Slingers tonight were very aggressive about that. Looking at your next game with the Indonesia Warriors, now you lost to them here a week ago. What are going to be your areas of focus for that game?
I mean, this win is big for us. Get us some confidence and basically ready for the next game, flying to Indonesia, and had a better game and keep improving and stay together as a team and basically build some trust on that.
Now, tonight's game was significantly close, just 1 point between you. How confident were you coming into the game off your two games that you lost previously?
Yeah, basically, I mean, do and die. I mean, at a team talk, we say we need to win this game and basically see who is more hungry. And I think we start off pretty well, especially on the third quarter when we are up by 12 to 14. I think on the defensive end, we slack down on that. That's why I get them back into the game, which is I'm quite disappointed on that.
Okay, Coach Neo, as always, a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations.
And we're talking about team rebounding, Anthony. We really should give credit. Rashad Jennings, 17 rebounds. He was a monster on the boards for the Slingers tonight.
And that tells you the difference. We talked about rebounding being below the rim. Jones Jennings is not a player that gets above the rim. He is a player that plays down low. He really forces his way around, uses his body well, his hips and his shoulders, and he's able to just get a lot of loose balls as a result.
All right, we'll step away, and when we come back, highlights of the second half. Slingers beat the Dragons by 1. We're coming back to the indoor stadium in a moment. Back at the indoor stadium, the Singapore Slingers took an 8-point lead into the second half against the Westport Malaysia Dragons. Let's take a look at highlights from the third and fourth quarters. Don Dulé going to work with a nice switch from the right hand to the left hand, Anthony.
Absolutely, they overplayed the ball screen there, and Dulé able to take advantage.
Kyle Jeffers flipping it up. Neil Beng Seong all throughout this game talking about moving the ball, getting it around, and that's exactly what the Slingers did in that second half.
You would understand, I mean, you look at the stats and you think that it was the Kyle Jeffers show, but in reality, it was a situation where the Slingers were passing the ball around, they were getting everyone involved. Jeffers just the beneficiary of a lot of scoring touches.
Gavin Edwards, who had a relatively quiet night with 11 points.
He had a couple quick buckets there in the third, but did not really get on track for the entire game.
And here Desmond O going down hard. You can see he went up the floor grimacing. Pakabahug weaving through traffic to score. That kept the Dragons within 9. And Jake Kabatu lashing to the rim. Edwards off the flush.
It was right around this moment where you saw the Dragons make their comeback. Right around here, they started to just nail shots. Their defense picked up, and they were able to get stops. Bozeman decided to inflict his will on the game and got them all the way back.
Moala Tautua off a missed Bozeman free throw scored. That made it a 3-point Slingers lead. Wong Wei Long putting it up, and Jeffers with the putback, but the Dragons, relentless, low sheet by off the inbound play, canned the triple to make it 59-57. And from here, Guga down inside, and the basket by Moala Tautua, who would factor in heavily at the finish.
Beautiful runner on the baseline there. Gave them a bit of a cushion.
But now watch the steal here. Tautua gathers it up and misses the dunk. That should have been 2 points and a tie with 15 seconds left.
Absolutely, and you know he feels that miss. He got frustrated at the end there because of the miss, and that was you know, a play that did not help them.
They hit a 3 with under 2 seconds left to make it a 1-point lead, but it stopped there. Take a look at that rebounding. 23 on the offensive glass for the Slingers to 11. So while they shot a higher percentage from the floor, Anthony, unable to get it done, they fall by 1.
And rebounding was definitely the story of the game. There's no other place to look except for on the boards.
So the Singapore Slingers run their record to 2-2 and find themselves in 4th. Meanwhile, the Westport Malaysia Dragons drop to 2-4 and are now in the cellar of the ABL standings. Here are the games coming up. The Indonesia Warriors meet the JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers. That game in Indonesia, the Warriors beat the Slingers about a week ago. And Friday, February 15th, the Chang Thailand Slammers, who are on a roll, then meet the Indonesia Warriors. The Dragons in action on February 16th. It's the San Miguel Beermen and the JobStreet.com Singapore Slingers. Actually, that reversed. The Dragons against the Heat on the 17th of February. So that will do it. The Singapore Slingers beat the Malaysia Dragons 68-67, are back at 500. For Michelle Holland and the ABL CEO, Anthony Macri, I'm Sean Fark. We're saying good night from Singapore.